I have been told that I'm a good gift giver, but I never use gift guides. I don't find them super helpful. I do think they're fun videos to watch, and sometimes I find things that I personally like, but I've never bought anything off of them for a friend or a family member. I have other strategies to give good gifts, and I want to give some advice that I've also gotten over the years, which has helped me become a good gift giver. I candidly don't celebrate Christmas. I got married this year, and my husband was raised Catholic. I'm Jewish on my dad's side, and my mom is Baha'i. So we have a lot of holidays we celebrate. We do all sorts of gifts, birthdays. There's a lot of different kinds of gifts to give, and I think this will cover all sorts. My first tip is to keep track of things people want all year round. So I just have in my notes app on my phone a note called presents. I have everybody's name, hyphen, and then I just write things in as they mention them. Brands they like, things they need, they've lost something, they've broken something, they've been searching for something, whatever, stuff they're interested in. I write it all down, and then when it comes time and I have to get them a gift, I look in the list and hopefully something in here will work. I do find that you have to be pretty specific because every now and then I write something without enough context, like add a link if you can, because for my husband, who knows when I wrote this, it just says ham biscuit light up sign. What a ham biscuit light up sign is, I'm not sure. And sometimes even if I don't know what it is, I'll just leave it in because I think it's funny or even nostalgic, like stuff that people were into years ago that maybe you wouldn't get them a gift for now, but it's cute to look back on. So it's a nice thing to do, and it's super, super helpful so you're not scrambling in the moment. If you are scrambling in the moment or you want to check back in with someone, always just ask their significant other if they have one, or like a sibling. I sort of don't understand why people are so confused, like they don't know what to get someone, and I'm like, they're talking to me, and I'm like, why don't you just talk to my husband? Like, he knows everything. If you're confused, if you're unsure, just talk to my husband. He knows. There's no reason to walk around in the dark. I ask even my brother's girlfriends for help with their presents. It makes it much easier. My next tip works for a lot of different situations, and it's that the present doesn't matter as much as the card. If you are short on cash or you're really not sure what to get, you can do something like flowers and a card, and it will have such a great impact. Please believe me, like, items are great. It's fun to obviously like have new stuff, but if you sit down and really write a heartfelt letter, like, people will feel like that is an extremely worthwhile gift. This is a trick my sister-in-law uses, and she started using it on me, and I was so impacted by it that I started using it for other people, and now I feel like maybe it's also a thing that comes with age, but it's just so nice to take the time and like really appreciate someone in a letter, especially on their birthday. But really all year round, you could do it for any gift. Just talk about, if you've seen changes or things that you're inspired by that they're doing, or you're proud of them. People love to hear that people are proud of them or inspired by them. Always write a card, especially if you're feeling a little unsure and you want to just like give something nice, like a bar of chocolate and a card, like just something kind of simple and well thought out. Through writing, I think it's very, very effective, and I highly recommend it. Now, I do want to get into types of gifts that I like to give personally. For myself, I don't like when people buy me clothing because I'm very particular. And even when I buy myself clothing, sometimes it's hit or miss. I don't want to like get something from someone and feel so bad about not wearing it because I don't like it for some reason. I'm just very picky. So I don't love people to buy me clothing as presents. I don't love to buy other people clothing as presents. I do think it can be effective depending on who they are and what you know about them. But personally, I think it's risky business. So here are some things I would suggest that is not clothing or even like household items necessarily. The first thing is fragrances. I do think, me personally, fragrances are very expensive, and it's something sort of luxurious that I think people don't want to spend on themselves. But of course, it's tough to get someone a fragrance. They can be very picky, and if you spend a lot of money on, a fragrance, $200, and they don't like it, it's like money down the drain. So what I did last year, which I thought was very, very effective for, again, my sister-in-law, is I did a scent split present. May not necessarily need something to go off of, but for her, I knew she was interested in pink peppercorn. So I essentially got her 5 different samples of pink peppercorn perfumes to try. And a sample of perfume honestly goes a long way. I asked her this year, I was like, which one's your favorite? Like, I'll buy you the whole bottle. And she was like, I'm still working on the samples. She was like, don't buy me a bottle. I'm perfectly happy with my samples. So it was really a gift that gave. And there are a lot of other websites that do this. Scent Split is what I used. There is also DecantX, Perfume, MicroPerfumes, Perfumed Court. I'll write these all down below. DecantHouse, ScentDecant, and Scents Angel. I went with Scent Split just because I did research about pink peppercorn fragrances, and then I found that the ones I wanted were available on Scent Split, so that's why I went with them. So I think you have to see what's available on the different sites and then go with that. Another present I like to get people is food, actually. There are some fun food subscriptions that have been going around, especially in my family and friends for whatever reason. I have a couple people who have done bean clubs. This is like the weirdest thing. Subscriptions are fun to get people in general. If you can find a subscription to like some sort of cinema program or house, or, you know, gift someone the, what is it called? Like the Criterion collection. But the ones I know people have been using for whatever reason right now are the Rancho Gordo Bean Club. I mean, you have to know that someone likes beans or they like cooking. I know a lot of people who are really into cooking, so it works for them and they're really enjoying it. So if you know anyone who likes beans, I really do suggest the bean subscription. And another one which might be a little bit more palatable or have a wider appeal is the Pasta of the Month Club. My husband likes this brand, Sfoglini. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. So you can get someone a pasta subscription, what does this include? Each shipment is filled with surprises, but you can count on the following to be included in each Sfoglini Pasta Club box. And they're shipped quarterly, so each box has 6 bronze dye cut and slow dried pastas. So always look into subscriptions. The other thing I like food-wise is if you have candy friends. I actually really like candy. I love to like try new candies. It's a very low cost way to be trying new foods all the time. And I particularly like sour candy. So you got to know your candy friends again. But I have a friend who really likes BonBon. Very easy. You can get someone a well-written card and a bag full of candy and they'll be happy. It's amazing. It's amazing. I highly suggest knowing the small things people like and then saying something really nice. Another thing I always highly suggest is experiences. Things I have gifted or have been gifted are spa days or spa experiences. Like you get a facial or a massage, something like that people don't necessarily buy for themselves because it feels indulgent, but they're going to really appreciate that someone else sort of went and got it for them. And then another one is like just taking them to, it could be even kind of touristy, but something that they have been meaning to do for a while but haven't done. Like I live in New York City, I live in Brooklyn, and the Bronx Zoo is really far away. But it's a really nice sort of gift to be like, I'm going to take you to the Bronx Zoo, like something we've been talking about that we haven't done. Give me a date, let's go, we'll go together. And then, you just buy their entrance ticket and lunch or whatever. It doesn't have to be a huge financial burden because obviously I also, living in New York City, really like Broadway shows. Broadway shows are obviously very expensive. There are ways to get cheap tickets, and I have been given Broadway tickets as presents, but not everyone has that sort of cash. So I still suggest doing like a museum or a really pretty park. Like one time my friends took me to Storm King, which is a giant sort of art, like outside sculptural art center, sort of outside of New York City. So they like rented the car and drove me there, especially because I don't drive. So it did involve some sort of cost, but mostly it's like a time and consideration gift. Finally, getting more into the actual gift guide sort of vibe, I will shout out a couple of brands or websites that I like the vibe of. And I think the thing that is important about these is that I don't necessarily want to suggest a specific item, again, because I don't know what you guys are doing in your lives and who you know and what they want. But there are some websites that I think have great curation. And if you are kind of just looking for like a little tchotchke to throw in with your nicely written card, here's places you can look. I'm going to suggest 2 different websites and then a couple of Etsy shops that I like. The first website is Rennes, which is a store out of Philly. I just think they have excellent curation. You don't need to go in person. They have an online website that you can look through and order things from. And it's sort of minimalist, but also a little feminine, I would say. So very sweet stuff. They have beautiful scarves. They have these really nice smelling candles that are shaped like different little animals. Candles are also a pretty easy gift, right? Always a crowd pleaser, but I just think they have great taste. It's a great store to follow overall if you're just looking for something beautiful and well made. The other website that I like is called Puebco Market. It's a little bit, in terms of aesthetic, it's a little bit more butch, I guess I would say. They have a lot of stuff that's made out of found items or recycled items. When I've talked about them in the past, I mentioned their bags, but they have amazing home items as well. And I like the look and I like the texture that all of this stuff seems to have. Finally, I have 4 Etsy shops. Etsy's not necessarily the website it used to be, but there's still a lot of stuff on there. And I've been poking around a little bit more recently because we're thinking about sort of reorganizing, redoing our apartment. And this first one I will mention is called Fun Antic. This stuff is really cute and poppy, like primary colors. I'm a big primary color person, honestly. I don't do a lot of neutrals in my house. These are definitely the sort of items that you'll want to give if you have a good idea of someone's taste. There's also Pink Flamingo Vintage, which is a little bit more elegant, I would say. So you have more glass and ceramic items. But yeah, I don't know. I love like a pot from Denmark or just a little ceramic tray. Like there's always a use for a little ceramic tray. You can even just stack them in your house. I have so many and it's never really enough. They have a lot of dance items, which I'm a big fan of, but I'm going to be honest, I thought up until this moment that it was a Danish company, and it's actually just an American company who is introducing the Danish modern movement to American households. So I don't know, same difference, but I was getting the Danish vibe. This store, which is based in the Netherlands, I'm not really going to try to pronounce it, but they do have a lot of Christmas stuff if you do know people who are into Christmas. Otherwise, again, a lot of beautiful little tchotchkes. Finally, we have Collected & Company. They are based in New York, and again, just a beautiful collection of old and vintage items. Is this an abacus? Why you would want an abacus, I could not tell you, but it's kind of like a form of sculpture. I like the way their listings are organized by color. It makes it very nice to scroll through. So that is my spiel about how to give gifts and what sort of gifts to give. You know, half the time, honestly, I am just buying my brother a sweater and my dad a book about politics and history that I found walking around Barnes & Nobles. But I would love to hear what strategies you guys use, what works for you and your loved ones.